Hi everyone, welcome back. We looked at the minor pentatonic scale in the last lesson. This time we'll look at the major pentatonic scale. Just to recap, the minor pentatonic scale looks like this. And the major pentatonic scale is exactly the same 5 shapes, but everything shifts back 3 frets. So for example, if this is pattern 1 in A minor, if I move that same pattern back 1, 2, 3 frets and play the same thing, but treat that as if it's my root note, I've got the A major pentatonic scale. Now, you could do this with all 5 patterns, just shift them back 3 frets, but we don't want to have to keep thinking about counting when we're playing. So it's better to learn them as their own separate thing, like this. Now you'll notice this is the C major pentatonic scale, by the way, exactly the same notes as the A minor pentatonic scale because they're relative major and minors. The only difference is I've done the root notes in green here. Also, the pattern numbers are different. Now, I don't like this convention of renumbering the patterns you spent so long learning. So I think you should stick to the pattern numbers as you learnt them in the minor pentatonic scale. The better way to learn the major pentatonic scale is either like this, where, as you can see, I've written the A minor and C major pentatonic scale. They're the same thing, but I've put the minor root notes in red and the major ones in green. But the best way is using what's called the CAGED system. I did a whole video about the CAGED method and how it uses chords as landmarks to find the major scale across the whole neck in any key. You can also use it to find the major pentatonic scale. So just to recap on what this means, there's 5 chord shapes we're going to look at: a C-shaped bar chord, A-shaped, G-shaped, E-shaped, and D-shaped bar chord, and that spells out CAGED. So here's the C-shaped bar chord. We'll stick to the key of C. So there it is. That's a C shape. Here's an A shape. Here's an awkward G shape. Here's an E shape. And the awkward D shape. Okay, that spells CAGED. You don't have to play those awkward chords. You just have to know they're there to be able to visualize that, well, if there's a C-shaped chord there, I know there's a pattern associated with it. If you look at the way I've done this, I've drawn the chord underneath those little circles in grey, so you can sort of spot how the pentatonic pattern fits over that. Okay. Now this is what you would have called pattern 4 in the previous lesson. Okay, and I'm going to stick to pattern 4. In fact, you know what? Why don't we call it the C-shaped major pentatonic scale? It looks like this. That's 12, 15, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 13, 15, 12, 15. The next one's the A shape. So here's the A-shaped chord, played like this or like this. And you'll see that hiding under the pattern I've drawn. And the pattern is this. Which was 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. Next pattern, this is what we would have called pattern 1 before, but we could call it the G shape if we want, and it looks like this. Or 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Pattern 2, which we're going to call the E shape, is 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. Pattern 3, which we're going to call the D shape, looks like this. That's 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, 9, 12, 10, 13, 10, 12. Quick bit of theory for you. In the C major scale, we have these notes: C, D, E, F, G, A, B. The major pentatonic scale is the 5 best notes from that. By best, I really mean the safest notes, the ones that don't care if you're playing Lydian, mixed Lydian or Ionian modes. Now, when you harmonise a C major scale, you get these chords. The 3 major chords, you can actually play their pentatonic scales. You can play the C major pentatonic scale, the F major pentatonic, and the G major pentatonic scales. They're all correct. C, however, is the safe one. That's the one that doesn't care about modes. That's the one we use most of the time. Incidentally, you can also play the A minor, D minor, and E minor pentatonics. However, they're exactly the same 3 scales. A minor is the same notes as the C major pentatonic because they're relative major and minor. D minor and F are the same thing. E minor and G are the same thing. If you wanted to change key, this is how you do it. Let's say we want to play it in the key of E. Here's an E chord using an A shape. And as a pattern that always fits that shape, it's this one. And there's my root note. You can use root notes as a way of finding these patterns. That's perfectly fine, but chords are better. The great thing about chords is I can see loads of the actual pattern under my hand. Let's try another one. Let's say we're in the key of A, and we want to play around here. So here's a chord of A using an E-shaped bar chord, and the pattern that fits it is this one. Okay, now let's stick with that key for a minute. Key of A. I'm going to pick another chord of A, maybe an awkward one like this C shape here, and as a pattern, what I call pattern 4, but you can call it the C shape pattern if you want, and it looks like this. And there's the root note. You could even pick another awkward one like this D-shaped chord here. There's the D shape, there's the bar. That's still a chord of A, by the way, not a very nice one. There's a pattern that fits over it, and it looks like this. I'm just going to play you out with something in the key of A. I'm going to put something in my looper and just mess around using those different shapes. I'll try and make it obvious which one I'm using as well. As always, thank you for watching. I hope this was useful to you. If so, please click like and subscribe. Thank you.